What's going on, guys? Joey Friends here at FLEXX Training Systems, and today we're going to talk about something that seems pretty obvious, but at the same time, I think it can go a long way for us to kind of explore and just understand why consistency is so important, right? It seems like such a simple thing, right? There's a lot of things that give you a lot of results in training, and they're just simple, obvious things, but I think a lot of time we get so caught up in the moment that we don't realize like what we're neglecting or what we're missing out on, right? So something I just want to paint a picture for you guys, and let's see if you guys can relate. If you have a shiny brand new training block, right? And let's take a 3-month period. And every 2 to 3 weeks you're missing out on like something happens on the weekend and you miss like 2 days, or something happens in the middle of the week and you need to move something around, and you're doing this consistently, right? Like you're constantly moving things around, adjusting things. Nothing is ever consistent. What you're doing by doing that is messing with your recovery distribution. So the way that your body prepares itself and recovers from certain days is getting all mixed up, right? It's like never consistent, it's never the same, it's literally always something different. Now, I would say earlier on in your career, you could probably do this and you would still see an upward trend in strength just because you're so new, and there is somewhat of a baseline of consistency there, and then you're able to progress on that, right? But later in your career, these things are going to become really important, right? You're going to have to stay super consistent with your recovery. You have to try to control as many variables as you can to start to build predictable recovery patterns, and then from there you could just get more accurate training sessions, and it's just going to be better for you in the long term, right? But if you come in the gym, and you feel like shit one day and you beat yourself up, but you don't take into account like, oh, well, I missed 2 days last week, or oh, I didn't. It's been 10 days since I hit that lift because if you train something once a week and then you miss one of them, now you're going a really long time without training that lift. You know what I mean? And you're going to be rusty when you come into the gym. You might feel a little bit more recovered, but your form's going to be off. You get what I'm saying? So you're just not going to have the most consistent sound sessions if you're constantly all over the place. It's kind of like math class. You need to go to the prior lesson and learn that lesson, and then you can learn the next lesson and build upon that lesson. And it's as simple as just being consistent. Going to the gym on the days that you're supposed to go to the gym. Try not to move things around, too much, right? You're going to drive yourself crazy, especially if you're getting frustrated, like, oh, why am I not strong today, whatever, this and that, and it's like, well, maybe try first before you blame anything. Get on, just be consistent. It's the same thing with dieting, right? People that, they're wishy-washy on their diet, they do some days good, some days bad, it's not a good thing. You're just not going to get anywhere that way. You need to continue to stack the chips. Every day that you train and you're consistent and you hit your protein or whatever, you do everything you're supposed to do, think of it as like you get to put a quarter in the piggy bank, right? And the days that you don't do that, you kind of do half of it, you're only putting in 10 cents. You're only putting in 15 cents. And you want to keep depositing those quarters, because when meet day comes around, you're going to have a lot of money in the bank, and then you could cash that in and win, right? So, I'm just looking at my notes here real quick. So yeah, repetition is one of the things I put down. It's day after day, and powerlifting is it's pretty monotonous, right? Like you're doing the same lifts. Well, it's 3 different lifts, but you're doing them all the time. You're going to get really familiar with them because you're trying to perfect it, right? And perfection comes through repetition. I mean, we may never be perfect, but we can try as hard as we can to kind of get there. And you just need to practice. It's that simple. It's staying on plan, right? So I think understanding how consistent you have been can be absolutely key when it comes to managing expectations and um, understanding like why things feel the way that they do. Are you, kind of progressing through your weeks, feeling, a little bit better at the start of the week, a little bit worse at the end of the week, and then you recover over the weekend and then repeat, right? You need to have that kind of relationship with recovery in there, and then you'll be good to go. So, you know, it's not everybody's a robot and can have a bad session and just like not get it, right? But I would say it is very beneficial mentally to just understand, like, okay, I haven't been consistent. I'm not really going to move forward unless I start to stack those chips. And, depending on what you're missing and how you're missing it, like, it could like not erase a couple weeks of work, but it could really put a damper on things, right? Um, One of the last things I have in here is schedule and recovery distribution. I talked about that a little bit in the beginning. So like, let's say you get injured, right? And you're just trying to get back into it, and you're trying to figure out like what do you need to do to get back on track. I would say, the very base thing that you can do aside from like your nutrition and all that is just get back on your schedule. I don't care if it's freaking 50% of what you were lifting before. You just got to get on your schedule. And once you get that schedule going, your lifts will start to come up. You start to get some, it's like you're shoveling coal into the furnace, right? And that furnace is going to start to ignite, and that flame is going to get bigger and bigger, and you really want to keep that going. I think that's a great analogy, because if you slow down, right, and you're not shoveling that coal, the fire is going to kind of go out over time. And that's kind of, if you want to think of being consistent, kind of like that fire, right? You got to stay consistent. You got to keep the flame up. That's it. You just got to keep the flame up, and the only way to do that is to put the work in, day in and day out. Now, there's going to be strategic times when you want that flame to pull back, and there's going to be other times when you want that shit to fire up. So, yeah, consistency. I'm mainly in this video, I'm talking about a training split, but it counts for everything, right? The more days that you can clock in with good recovery, good nutrition, right? Good sleep, all that's recovery. Staying hydrated. If you have, I look back to periods in my life where I've had very like low stress, and which leads to a more like steady mental state. I can really start to move forward. I can really start to gain some ground, because that even like times when I've lost like a lot of weight, it was because I was mentally like, one of the main things I had to focus on was the diet. So I didn't really have other distractions, and I could just stack my chips, stack my chips, stack my chips, stack my chips. And I think that's really important. But yeah, really simple video. I mean, everybody knows you need to be consistent, but it's another thing when you're caught up in the moment and you're like, I want to be strong now, but you look back and you're like, wow, I haven't been consistent. You get what I'm saying? You have to be. You literally have to be. I was just talking to Russ about something like this, and the way that we're gonna do what we need to do, especially with all the challenges we have, like Russ is gonna try to do some really amazing stuff this year, and the way that we do that is day in, day out, little deposits here, right? We're gonna, hit our deloads like a deload, right? Solid deload, sharp form, recovery is on point, diet is on point. When we're in the gym, we're in the gym. It's time. It's gym time. It's not nothing else time. You get what I'm saying? These are all things that you just keep adding them up, right? And you do it consistently over a year. You don't need to like overshoot yourself, right? You're not chasing anyone. You're just building slowly over a year, and then you come in 6 months later, come in 8 months later, and you're like this fucking incredible new version of yourself, right? You guys have seen Keiko. His squat was obviously his worst lift, and now look at it, right? It's popping off. Our boy Weeze, right? I'm naming these people because they're like they have a lot of like you guys know them, right? I could name, I can name like unknown lifters that you guys don't know, but then you won't relate to them as much, right? So anyway, thank you guys for listening this far. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, or any video topics you guys want me to cover. Hashtag be consistent in the comments down below, and be honest with yourself, right? Have you been consistent, right? How can you want to change your program, want to change this, want to change that, but you haven't even like done it? You get what I'm saying? You need to like stay on it, commit. 8 to 12 weeks, reevaluate, keep it moving. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. See you later. Peace.